All right, well, good morning. It's Saturday morning and welcome back to another video. Today on this Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Classic LT, I am doing three things to it. First thing I'm gonna be doing is changing the front and rear brake pads. The second thing I'm going to be doing to it is changing the oil because it needs an oil change before I start running this season. And the third thing I'm gonna do is I am going to come over here. If you look, I am going to adjust this clutch cable because right now, as you can see, there's a big lot of play in the clutch. Basically, there's a big gap right there, and I want to get it closer to the there, so I have a little bit more play here when I need it in the future. I already tried to do that down over on this area right here. That is the clutch adjustment down underneath behind the radiator, this part right here, but it didn't come out to my favor. I'm gonna try it again here, and if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to go down right into there to do it, where the clutch adjustment kind of goes into the actual clutch itself down here underneath the motor. So if you want to learn how to do the brakes the right way, the front and rear, or maybe the wrong way, I'm not sure because I've never done them before, I'm going to film the whole process of me doing it. I'll fast forward all the parts that are boring so that way you don't have to do it. So one of the things I have to do is I have to take off this saddle bag to get to the brake caliper and pads behind it. So I will do that and then I'll be right back. All right, I got the saddle bag all off, and here is the brake caliper right down here. And the two bolts that are holding it in are a 8mm Allen socket. I put it on my ratchet so that way I can just pull it, use it that, and then pull it off from there. And the brake pads are inside of this caliper that's on here. And the rotor, I am not gonna change. The rotor does have some kind of grooves in it. I'm not sure how the condition looks of these pads, but they are starting to squeal a little bit and they are starting to make a little bit of noise. And it does have some wear. I'm not changing this rotor because it's not that bad. It does have grooves in it, but it's like a $400 rotor. For why, I am not sure. It's a small little rotor. But anyway, so I'm going to take this off. I'll record that. Like I said, I'll fast forward all the parts that are boring so that way you don't have to watch that, and we'll get it off and then we'll slow it down once we get it there, and I'll show you all the rest. All right, so one of the things that I'm noticing right away is that these are original brake pads. There's meat still left on these pads. I'm not sure why it's squealing the way it is squealing when I do brake. Maybe because they're dry. There doesn't look like there's any grease. I did go to the parts store and I did buy some grease to put on the new ones. All the videos I've seen of people doing it online, or on YouTube I should say, none of them put grease. They said they don't need it, but I don't like to hear the squealing of any kind of squealing when I'm braking anyway, so I will be putting grease on all the points that need the grease. But the hardest part of this job is this back rod or pin that goes through here. It goes out that way, I believe. Yes, I think it does. I'm not quite too sure about that, but there's a cotter pin right in here that it needs to come out. And once I get that cotter pin out, it will slide out that way or that way. And then I can do everything. But before I do that, I gotta go grab a big screwdriver and get these pistons to go back. That way I'll have room to put on the new pads when I put on the rotor. Doesn't look all that bad to me. Still got life to them, but we're gonna change them anyways. This one comes out just like that. I didn't get these down far enough, I don't think. So I'm going to go grab my vice grip C-clamps and I'm going to show you how I do it when I do my car anyways. I just take them and use them to squeeze them down. I got my humongous pair and my small pair. So I'm going to try to use the small pair first. It should go in there just by opening it up a little bit and sticking it in there. And then let's see if that moves. Oh, it must be all the way down. It doesn't look like it's all the way down to me, but yeah, we're bottomed out. That one's bottomed out. Let me check this other one. Bottomed out. Now, I do have some brake clean that I could probably put in here, but I don't want to spray and make a mess down. So what I'm gonna do is spray my rag, and then I only have paper towels. I forgot to grab rags. Then I'm gonna spray my rag, and I'm gonna clean all these surfaces that the brake pads ride on. That way I can put grease on it, and it'll be nice and clear and free. Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to clean it anyways. I'm going to put a whole bunch of rags down underneath the bottom of it and give it a good spray. So I can catch all the brake cleaner, or as much of it as I can. Put it that way. Not too much. Drain it all out. Let me go get my fan and put it on so I can exhaust some of these fumes out of my garage. Alright, now comes time for the grease, and you know what? I really don't remember on how, I mean, I kind of got an idea how they go in there, but you know, I don't remember everything I see photographically, so I guess when I do it, that's how I am. When I do it, I'll remember. But put some grease on these. And I just try to put grease everywhere that where it would vibrate at, like on these pistons, of course. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to be a lot, because you're gonna put some on. I put some on the actual pads themselves too, and I am wearing gloves because you know, I don't want my hands all dirty, full of asbestos. If this is asbestos, which it probably is. I'm going to put some on this shaft because they ride up and down on here. Not a whole bunch, just enough to get it lubricated. And on the bottom sides of here, this thing was like $1, $2 actually, which I think is a ripoff because you can usually buy a whole tube of grease for like $6. So, but I don't know if you can find any kind of brake grease in a tube or brake lubricant in a tube. I looked probably on Amazon. I bet you Amazon got it. I'm gonna put some grease on these little springs or shims. I'm not sure what the real terminology is for these things, but I know they do play a role in there, and they do make contact on them. So I'll put some grease on there. Wipe off my hand. Alright, these brake pads, these are FA231HH EBC brake pad. I had to buy these at my local Kawasaki motorcycle shop because these were not available on Revzilla. The other ones I bought on Revzilla for the front, I mean. So I'm not sure why they weren't available on Revzilla, but they were a little bit more money at the Kawasaki shop for sure, but a little bit more money versus not having them. So I'd rather have them than not have them. All right, so let me try to recreate this pad here before I think this one, yeah, this one goes here like that. So that little notch goes in there like that. I remember that. And then it goes, okay, so that's how that one goes. And then it's got to go like this because the caliper or the rotor's in there. So wait a second, that ain't matching up. Maybe like this. Yes, because then that goes up here, swings over, just like that. Because that one rides on, and my hand was in the way, on that pin right here, and then it swings over. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take these off. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the back sides of here. That's why I said you don't have to go crazy, because I do grease it a little bit more. I forgot that point right here after I see it now. It contacts right here. I forgot this point right here, which I'll add some grease to the pad when I put it on. So that's, I always do that no matter what. That way I know it's done. I like this, just a small coat. A little bit right here. The pin, I'm going to lube the pin, I'm going to put it in before I put it in. So I'm putting on this hole, and then some right here. A little bit right here, and a little bit right here. Lube them up. I might need a little more on here, but I got it. It's a little more. There we go. That's a little better. So, bring this around here. Drop it down. Already got the shaft lubed up, so don't need for me to put any more on there. I will do that some more to the back. Right up here. Now lock. Spread it all through. Slide it on there. And let it sit there for right now. Now I'm gonna lube up this shaft just a little bit. Wait a second. I think it goes the other way. I think it comes from this way. No, that's doesn't go in that way. Stop on that end. All right, it is a little crooked, and it's not letting me get it in that hole right there, so I'm gonna have to probably pry up on the bottom down here with the screwdriver to get that to go up. Things always never seem to fall in, you know. Let me just pry up on here. Right. There we go. Slid right in. Just put a little screwdriver on the bottom here, and it slid right in. And now I just got to find out the cotter pin holes right over here. I got to get that cotter pin in there. Well, let me turn this. I believe the pin part like it goes in there just like this. That way this part is facing, the shaft part's facing against there. Let's see, let me move this can back a little bit. There's some clearance. There we go, just like I thought. And it seats, hopefully the camera picks this up, it seats on that middle ridge. In there, so like it goes around the shaft, that little middle ridge on there. Now all I gotta do now is put these back on. And hopefully I compressed it enough. Oh yeah, look how much clay. And now the whole thing about it is like the pedal is going to be spongy, so you're going to have to prime the pedal. I'm going to start this bottom one first. And then the top one. Now they say, you know, you have to torque these down, of course, per spec, manufacturers, whatever. But I'm not going to torque them down. I'm just going to give it, I got this extension bar, basically. This is a long bar. So about 1 foot long. I'm just going to give it as much as I think I need it. There we go. A little bit more. That's good. A little bit more, and that's good. Now we're gonna pump the pedal. Right here is gonna be loosey-goosey, just until it gets tight, because you're pushing all that fluid back into the. It flushed it this way, basically. There we go. Now we're tight. So tight, we're moving the, that's what I want. So this is the front pad, and this one's going to be easier. Besides the bike's a little bit leaned over, might have to sit on the floor. Here's the pad, the caliper itself. These two bolts come off, and I believe they are 12 millimeter. Yeah, it's a 12 millimeter socket that goes on there. You'll be able to pull these up, pull these bolts out, and flap it down, and do all that. I got enough room on this line to do anything I want to do. So I'll show you before I start the pad, just in case you're wondering. These are an FA 229, and again EBC brakes. I got these off of Revzilla for like $30, or a lot cheaper on Revzilla than they are at your local Kawasaki shop or motorcycle shop. And almost like the front the front pads, these are stock also, I believe, because the same brand as the caliber, Timico, whatever. And these don't look bad at all. The caliber's not bad at all. So there is a little wear on this one, and there's not much wear on that one. But like I said, I'm going to be riding all season, and I'm going to change them anyways, because Why not? And the pin is down here on this one here. So now I learned my lesson. Pin comes out, comes down. Seems to be some type of crap in here. I'm not sure what that is. Some kind of something here. Like dirt. Almost like I've been riding through a cornfield or something like that. Something like that. Just like the other one, swings out, comes down off the shaft, and then this one comes out, and everything like that. Look at all that, like dirt in there, or grass. What is that? Hopefully the camera's picking it up. But there's some kind of, what is that, junk in here? Look like I got a little bit of a plant. I don't know. Something in there. All kind of crap in there. Anyways, I'm going to spray these down. I'm going to do that a little bit closer to the ground this time. So I'm going to have it hanging when I do it. Alright, I already greased up the pads like I did previously. So that way I don't have to do it again or show you again. And I'm just going to put these pads, the new ones, in. That one goes on like that. Get my finger out of the way. Slides on down. Almost seems like to me, for some reason, it seems like it's crooked. This pad right here, almost like it's not sitting back all the way that way for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I'm looking at it. I don't know, definitely looks like it's crooked a little bit. It's touching here and it's touching there, but it just looks like to me it's crooked a little bit. Got no more play on it, so hopefully it's in there. Let me put some grease on this shaft. That one went right on. The other ones were crooked, but this one went right on. And then I'll put the cotter pin in, and then we'll put it on. I need to move the camera for that because it's in my way. Trying to get the caliper back on and all that, but it's being tough, almost like it's hitting up here on the top. Oop. Maybe that's because the pads, I was probably going in the middle there. All right, so it's back. I got the caliper back on. I had to take it back off the pad, this rear pad and move it back on the clips because it got caught up on the clips. But when I was putting it on, I had to hold that pad that way so I can get it around the rotor here, because if not, it pushed all the way forward and it was trying to go both pads on one side of the rotor, which won't work. So I got it all in, I'm gonna all tighten it down, and then we're gonna do the oil. All right, well, I had to change cameras because my other camera, my DJI Action 4, which is the one I film on my motorcycle and all that stuff, I was trying to use for the brakes, for the rear and the back. Hopefully it caught everything. Maybe it was a little too dark, I'm not sure. Once I start editing it, I'll see it. But I switched to my my camcorder because the battery life is 100 times better on a camcorder than it is an action cam, because I was blowing through batteries like nothing. I went through 2 batteries doing that. So now all I gotta do is do the oil change and then the clutch adjustment, and then I should be about done, I think, and then we'll see how it rides after that. So I did buy this jack stand that is in this box. I do not know if it works. I ordered it last year, literally last year, and it's been in the box ever since off Amazon. What it does though, it goes underneath the frame and it will go underneath and catch it and lift the bike up evenly, so that way I can do stuff like my oil change a whole lot better. Hopefully this thing, like I said, works. I'll put it underneath there, I'll get it all unboxed and put it underneath there and see if it lifts it up and see how stable it is. But then we gotta change the oil. Alright, so after I got this up a little bit higher and level, I noticed that this drain pan won't go underneath the motorcycle for the drain plug, so I got to lift it up higher. And actually, I got the ratchet this time instead of using a adjustable wrench. But this thing is actually pretty stable on this jack stand. I mean, I'm moving it around a little bit and the back wheel's off. And all I need is just a little bit of clearance. I would like to get my hand underneath there so that way I can get my hand. Oh, I don't want to go any higher than I have to. Once I break it loose, it's definitely going forward though. The front wheel's not off the ground, but the back wheel's way off the ground. I'm okay with one wheel being on the ground, I guess. Once I break it loose, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I gotta think quick. Get this, once I break that bolt loose, get this right underneath here. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know. I'll figure something out. We'll figure something out, let's put it that way. Another thing I gotta do before I take off the bottom nut is take this guard off. This guard right here is protecting the oil filter from getting hit by anything when you're riding. And the oil filter is back there in the back behind it. So what I'm going to do is take off this guard. That way once I get the oil drained all out, all I got to do is come up here and loosen up the oil filter and take it on out. This is a 10mm socket to take this off. I cannot find a short rail 10mm socket. I have no idea why, but mine are all gone. So all I have is a deep well. Take this off. Well, I gotta take this. That must be some type of cooler. I'm not sure what kind or what it is. Maybe an oil. Maybe it is the oil cooler itself. I'm not 100% sure what kind of cooler that is. It's a heat sink of some sort, but it's electrical actually. It's got electrical lines going to it, so I don't know what it's for, but we're taking it off because it's in the way. I'm actually glad I used the deep well socket because I was able to get to them behind here a little bit easier. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to, no, I'm not going to be able to get that out. I got to take this off. All 10 millimeter though, that's a good thing. It didn't change sizes. There we go. Now I have complete access to my filter. Another thing I got to do is take off this the cap so it has air to breathe when you're draining it. I believe this is where the oil goes. I don't know. I've never done this before, but I'm going to use an adjustable wrench. That way I have more surface area than I would with a pair of pliers to get that loose. I'm going to break that loose, and that sure does look like engine oil. Smells like engine oil to me. Good to go. You know, sometimes I don't know, I just don't think. But anyways, I was thinking like, is this the engine oil or not? Is this where you fill it at? Is this the vent? Is this the fill cap or what? I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking all over the bike. I don't see anything else to fill it with. But if you look, here's the pistons. You know, the rods go down into the crankcase. The crankcase is right here, down underneath these rods and everything. And here's where the engine, the crank turns, and that's where the oil goes, just straight down in there. Why? Sometimes I question myself. I don't know, but I do. All right, we'll see what size socket this is. The 17, I think. Yep. 17 millimeter. There we go. Oh, I forgot to take this plug off. That would have been bad. It would have drained and filled up the top. Dirty oil, very, very, very dirty oil. I mean, like black. I'll let that drain out. And once it drains out, we'll go to the filter, get that filter out, put the new one on, or we'll plug this up first, then put the new filter on. I mean, it's dirty. This oil's dirty, but I can actually see brown now. So it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad. It needed to get changed, but it's brown. It's not completely black. Kind of hard to tell, but it looks just brown there. It's not real black, like I said. That's the oil that came out. Still got life in it, actually. I was just looking on the filter. I was going to wait for that to drain all the way, but this pan is actually, the opening comes all the way out over this filter, so I'm going to go on the other side and try to loosen this up. That way I can get the filter out, and I'll just change the filter while this is still draining, because it's still draining. What'd they do, torque this thing down? I don't have a... Oh, nah. I don't have nothing to get it off with, like the size of my hand. Well, I couldn't get it with my hand, so I grabbed the next best thing. A pair of channel locks. And squeezed it. And I got it to turn. and now I don't want to turn. There we go. I don't recommend using a pair of channel locks though. It shouldn't be this tight. That's too much. There we go. Dump that out. I've only ever have put the oil filters in hand tight, and I've never ever had issues with it. Pretty nice it comes with a plastic cover on here, but I gotta get it off. I'm gonna take some of this old oil in the pan, and I'm going to put a little bit around this seal so that way it's a good fit seal on there. Now I bought this filter off Amazon and it says it fits this bike, so this is the moment of truth right here. Oh yeah, there you go, going in just fine. And that should be plenty tight right there. I'm gonna go over here with my right hand because I'm right-handed. I was doing that left-handed. Just give it a little bit more. There we go. Hand tight, and that's how it should be, I think. Like I said, I never ever had issues with it before, even on cars. Should be a washer, I think. Yeah, there's the washer. The only thing about this pan is that there's a really big hole in the middle. So if I was not careful about draining this, then it could have probably went in there and got lost on me. And this is the flat side. It's dripping a little bit. Just gonna have to push it out the way and put this rag. It's enough drained by now. Tight. We're good. All right, we're all drained, and the only thing left now to do is fill with oil. Got my bag of funnels that I bought from Amazon because I'm not sure which one would be the best for this scenario. Thinking something like that, but then again, I kind of like this one right here. This one's got like a long, I don't think I'll ever use that. Eyeballing this one. I think that one will, I don't know, let's see here. I think this one, yeah, this one's got more, it's got more surface area for me to hit. and I like that better. So put these off to the side for right this moment. Oh, the oil that you're gonna need for this is a 10W40 weight oil, 10 weight 40. I got Valvoline and I got Daily Protection. It's just a regular oil. Some people go ahead and put synthetic in it. I ride a lot, but around here in Western North Carolina, there's not like a lot of there's a lot of roads to ride, and you could put a lot of miles on. But I work every day, so if I'm traveling back and forth to work in the summertime, which I usually do ride every day, it's not very far. So I don't put a lot, in plain short, I don't put a lot of miles on it. So I'll just do the oil change once a year. If that's about all I'll do. I'll go on a few long rides every year, but nothing like I gotta change oil like all the time like that. So I'm good with just getting regular oil. So this thing I think takes 4.5 quarts, and this is 5 quarts. So we're gonna start filling, and then halfway through we're gonna see where we're at. Sure. Stop for a second. Look at the leaks. The leaks. I'll see leaks. And this oil I bought on Amazon. It's a whole lot cheaper to buy it on Amazon than it is to buy on go to your auto store, anything like that for oil. It was the cheapest route, and that's what I want. It's the cheapest route. It's still everything I need. We're about halfway through, so let's give it some more. It's everything I need. It's the right. It's what it calls for the manufacturer. So it's not like you're not. It's not like you're doing any kind of shortcut here. You're just saving money. All right. Let's see where we're at down here on the sight glass. Now I got my camera down here so you can see it, but also it's doing a dual purpose. I can see it from up here. I like that. As she slowly comes up. I want to be a little bit higher than that, I think. Hang on, let's see where it kind of levels out at. Nice and clear. You can see right through it. So that's a good sign. The bike is level. That's a good level right there. I'm just gonna leave it like that, because if I do need to add oil in the future, it's not like I don't have it, so we'll keep it just like that. I'm gonna change this air filter, which I bought this one on Revzilla too, and it's right behind this cover. I'm gonna take this cover off, and then we're gonna take the air filter out and change it, and we'll have everything done on the bike that I wanted to get done, and it's on camera, but it's also done, so I don't have to do nothing else besides get on it and go for a little spin to see how everything feels. It's the same 4mm Allen head socket to get this screw off that holds the filter on after you take your cover plate off. There goes a little bit more. There we go. There, oh, look at that. There is a wire tie up in here. I don't know where that came from. I did take off the speakers a few days ago. Maybe it fell in there somehow. And that's the condition of the old one. And let me get the new one out. Here's the old one. And that's the new one going in. It's just the same thing. Put it back on here. One thing I did notice is when I took this cover plate off, there's a little bit of oil in here and dirt, so I'm going to wipe that all out, and then I'll put it all back together. Alright, well, I got all the sponginess out of the rear brake. That's the rear brake right there. And I got all the sponginess out of the front brake. That's the front brake right there. Oil's changed. I'm going to stop over here and see if I have any kind of leaks going on, because you know you got to check for that stuff when you do an oil change. Brakes are acting fine. I thought I would get a little bit more stopping power with the new pads, but I got about the same. But there's no more squealing in the rear, which I am all for, because that squealing was not fun. make it sound like your bike is, you know, old and worn out when it's not. So I'm gonna stop here in a minute. Yeah, I was hoping for more stopping power, but that's not gonna happen. I don't know why. I'm gonna try to get, I'll go over here, this open field, or this open drive gravel. And then the clutch adjustment is about the same. No difference in the clutch, which I was hoping it would be a little bit lighter, but there is no adjustment. There's nothing. Okay, I don't see anything leaking. Just probably from what, yeah, that's kind of dry. That was from the filter before. So we're good. No leaks. Like I said, I was hoping the clutch would be a little bit lighter when I did that, and it's about the same, unfortunately. Man, today was supposed to be like a rainy day, rainy afternoon, 40% chance after sometime, I don't remember, but it's 3:02 now, and it's a nice day. Everything's good. I'm good. Everything is done for the spring. The spring maintenance is done. I don't have to do anything else to it now besides get on the bike and ride all the rest of the spring, all summer long, and all fall long, and then I'll do the maintenance all over again next springtime. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and like always, I will catch you on the next one.